T-minus 20 minutes, 17 seconds and counting. You see the big vent now in progress here. Get a good visual indication that fueling is moving along right on pace. This will last until about T-minus 16 minutes and 30 seconds as they are thermally conditioning the feed lines in preparation for second stage liquid oxygen load. There's the channel membership at the pad leader level. Really appreciate that, Steve. I want to take a beat to talk about the launch timeline of the mission. This is the anticipated milestones after the Falcon 9 rocket leaves the pad, and we're expecting on a nominal flight and when these events will come up. Of course, they're targeting a T0 liftoff at 2:42 p.m. Eastern, 18:42 UTC, a little less than 14 minutes from now. Following that, at about T+1 minute and 12 seconds, the Falcon 9 will pass through max Q, or the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. It'll be followed by a few different events in fairly rapid succession. First, we'll see first stage main engine cutoff, or MECO, followed by stage separation, then second stage engine ignition, or SES1, and then just about the 3-minute mark, the payload fairings will be jettisoned. A few minutes after that, at T+6 minutes and 9 seconds, the first stage entry burn begins, lasting about 24 seconds in total. The landing burn will start at T+7 minutes 55 seconds, with touchdown on the drone ship of shortfall gravitas expected at about the T+8 minutes and 18-second mark. The second stage engine, or the Merlin vacuum engine, will cease firing for second stage engine cutoff, or SECO1, T+8 minutes and 39 seconds. After that, the Falcon 9 second stage will go into parking orbit, or coast phase, until a brief 2-second burn starting at T+54 minutes and 15 seconds, setting up for deployment of the 23 Starlink satellites at T+1 hour, 5 minutes and 22 seconds. The majority of that made up by Falcon 9 first stage. Again, this booster has only flown twice before. Once for a Starlink mission, once for the Crew 8 Dragon flight up to the ISS. This is booster B1083 in the SpaceX fleet. At the base of the first stage are 9 Merlin engines, which burn rocket-grade kerosene, RP1, and liquid oxygen, and produce 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Around the engine compartment, you can see the black carbon fiber landing legs that are used to land the first stage on the drone ship. Again, today they're using a shortfall of gravitas. Above the first stage is the inner stage. It's a composite structure consisting of an aluminum honeycomb core surrounded by carbon fiber. In that image on the right-hand side, you can see titanium winglets that provide stability and steering for the Falcon 9 as it comes back through the atmosphere, tail first like a big old dart. At the top of the inner stage are 3 mechanical latches that attach to the Falcon 9's second stage. In the first stage main engine cutoff, high-pressure helium is used to release those latches. Automatic pushers ensure a clean separation. Second stage engine nozzle is also housed safely inside the inner stage adapter until stage separation. Speaking of that second stage, upper stage of the Falcon 9, powered by a single modified Merlin engine called a Merlin vacuum engine, or an MVAC engine. It's optimized for burns in the vacuum of space, hence the name. It produces more than 200,000 pounds of thrust, and it will be fired twice on today's flight, placing the 23 Starlink satellites into their intended orbit. Fun fact, SpaceX needed to rush a couple of these MVAC engines from Hawthorne out here to Florida in order to support Starlink missions both this week and looking at the one next week, targeting about May 12th. Or rather, that's the end of this week. They chartered a Ukrainian Antonov plane to make sure they got here on time, since moving them by ground like they normally do would mean that they would miss their launch opportunity today. So had to get them over here with the quickness. Speaking of the Merlin vacuum engine, following the deployment of the Starlink satellites,
Strongback retract has started.
It'll be used for a third time for a deorbit burn, forcing it back to the atmosphere, where it will help to eliminate the risk of space debris on this mission. You heard that call out for strong back retract. The clamp arms underneath the payload fairings will open up, and the transporter erector you see there in front of the rocket from our perspective will recline back about 1.5 degrees, stay in that position until liftoff. Rounding out our discussion of the vehicle, though, at the top of the rocket are the payload fairings, standing at about 13.1 meters or 43 feet tall. They are 5.2 meters or 17.1 feet in diameter, made up of a carbon composite material. They will also be, as you're hearing the rocket come alive from the audio at the pad, you're getting some views now from SpaceX. This pad shot here. Again, you can see just how non-sooty this particular booster is as this is going through its third flight today. Those are the aforementioned payload fairings. You can see the transporter erector just leaning back just a little bit here. You're now T-minus 2 minutes, 49 seconds and counting for the liftoff of this mission.
Stage 1 lock slot is complete.
With that call out, Falcon 9 is nearly fully fueled and almost ready to go. We're just waiting for one last call out. That is second stage liquid oxygen load complete. That should come just about the 2-minute mark.
Stage 2 lock slot is complete.
Here, the call for stage 2 lock load complete. You're just topping up the water tower here. You can see some of it cascading over, and actually kind of a fun shot here at the pad.
Ground gas closeout.
Call for ground gas closeouts mean we're just a little over a minute away from the liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket. They, of course, want to make sure they have all the water they need in their
Falcon
sound
9
suppression system for liftoff. Waiting for the go for launch call.
Countdown. Go for launch.
And there's that go ahead. We are now 30 seconds away from the liftoff of the Falcon 9 here from historic pad 39A. Less than 20 seconds away from SpaceX taking the record from the Space Shuttle program with the most launches from this historic pad. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition and liftoff. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket, cementing its place in history. Now, one more flight than all of the space shuttles in the entire 30-year run. Falcon 9 has cleared the tower and the flags at the press site, soaring high above Florida's Space Coast. Let's listen to the roar of those 9 Merlin 1D engines. So far, all moving nominally with this Falcon flight, just a little more than a minute after liftoff. The call to Falcon is now traveling faster than the speed of sound, coming up on max Q, the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Good call out there. Coming up on a few different events in rapid succession. First will be first stage main engine cutoff, or MECO, at T plus 2 minutes and 26 seconds. That'll be followed by stage separation about 4 seconds later, and then second stage engine start, SES1. Some great views from our tracking team. This is from Pete Carson's Max Q Productions. This is from our friend Chuck Briggs. That call out, they are thermally conditioning the Merlin vacuum engine in preparation for its burn to begin. Now less than 20 seconds away from MECO. You see MECO?
Main
Stage
engine
separation. And SES1.
Stage separation confirmed.
And some great views from the onboard cameras, the Falcon 9's first and second stages. Payload fairings should be jettisoning. There you can see them falling away. See the same.
Separation confirmed.
And there's the view from the onboard cameras. The Starlink satellite's now exposed to the vacuum of space for the first time on this mission. Still a great view of the payload fairings from Pete Carson's tracking camera. Great tracking work here, Pete. Well done. And to the rest of our team as well, Adam and Chuck. And some nice daylight views from the Falcon 9's onboard cameras in both the first and the second stages. You see those little puffs and bursts from the Falcon 9
are on a nominal trajectory.
From the Falcon 9 first stage. Those are the cold gas thrusters helping to adjust the attitude of the Falcon 9 first stage. It begins to orient itself towards a landing on the drone ship, a short fall of gravitas. Coming up at just about 4 minutes. Nice views, the Bahamas there, just off the edge of the Falcon 9 booster. Coming up on 5 minutes into flight. The next milestone we're looking at is the start of the first stage entry burn, which will begin at about T plus 6 minutes and 9 seconds. It's a little bright here in the middle of the afternoon, so it may not be visible to our tracking cameras on the ground, but we'll try to get that in view if we can and bring you those images if we're able. Of course, we'll see them from the SpaceX onboard cameras, of course. But always nice to bring you a ground perspective if it's possible. Now less than 30 seconds from the start of that entry burn.
Both vehicles continue to follow a nominal trajectory.
Coming up on the start of that entry burn in just a few seconds in real time.
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
It doesn't look like our ground cameras can catch it, but here's the start of that entry burn from the onboard camera views. Burn lasting a little more than 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Here's the end of that entry burn.
Stage 2 FDS saved.
Next milestone coming up is the start of the landing burn just before the 8-minute mark. We're about a minute away from that taking place. Now less than 30 seconds away from the start of that landing burn, real time. The time you're looking for again is T
Stage
plus
1 transonic.
7 minutes and 55 seconds there on the SpaceX clock at the bottom of your screen.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Booster coming in for its third landing.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
And a good landing of that first stage booster.
Stage 1 landing confirmed. Impact shutdown.